Today we're going to be tapping in to some mental resources that you didn't know you had, because maybe there is something in your life that you're doing on a daily basis or something you're not doing that you want to be doing, but you have conflicting desires. Internally, there's conflicts of interests. You want to do something, but it makes you feel scared to be the person that you want to be more, to lean into yourself more and into your life more. You want to change your behaviors a little bit. I'm going to show you some resources to do that. And we don't usually think of motivation as a resource, but it really is. And that really knuckle down, difficult, I'm just going to push through this type motivation will get you only so far. For those of you who work out on a daily basis, you already know that that type of motivation gets you through like 2 workouts and then you can't do them anymore, because you need some way to actually use your existing motivating factors as a biological creature to push you into the right direction. There are already motivating factors inside of you that are biological, psychological, and spiritual that are already pulling on all these different directions inside of you, pushing you in different directions, pulling you in different directions every day. And the strongest energy that's pulling at you is the direction that you're going to move. So let's talk, for example, about the biological drives. This is not an exhaustive list, but these are just some that I jotted down. So there's safety. You need to feel safe, like you're able to comfortably sleep in a certain location and you won't get killed. There is hunger. You need some food or thirst, water. The desire for sleep, and then the desire for human connection and intimacy on a biological level. These are all drives that are going to be operating on their own as long as you live. Psychological drives. The top 3 that I've identified for myself are the desire to be consistent, which means the way you portray yourself as your identity, the person you tell people you are, and more importantly, show them who you are. You want to be consistent with that on a regular basis. So we have a box for ourselves that we have drawn in our psychology, and we have a lot of motivation to stay in that box, whatever it's going to take. So you can redraw that box over here, and then if you stay in that box, you're going to be extremely motivated not to leave that. Next, we have the endless pit of psychological desire. So things like feeling good when you get validation or money or resources, just this ego drive to just have more and more, which never ends. Be careful using that one because it never ends. We all have this bottomless pit ability inside of us. And then lastly, for psychological drives, we have accountability, which is sort of like the consistency one that I said earlier. But accountability, I more mean that you want to be doing what everybody else is doing in a certain space. So if you're on a dance floor, you're going to feel like you want to dance more. If you're in a workout class, it's going to be a lot easier to do the workout because everybody's doing it around you and you don't want to be the odd one out. If you've told someone you're going to show up at a certain time, you'll feel bad if you don't show up. So that's psychological. And then we have spiritual, which would be like curiosity and truth. What do you want to know about life? The drive to ask those big questions to yourself. Another one would be the drive towards peace in you and your relationships, where there used to be drama and seeking and turmoil. And then lastly, we have the desire to give and be part of something bigger. So that's also a spiritual drive, you could say. We're going to call it that for this video. So now you have all these drives. Whichever one, if you add up all the vectors together, whichever one is pushing in the strongest direction, that's the direction you're going to go. So say you're having an existential crisis, you want to know who you are. You're also supposed to show up at a workout for 6 p.m., but you're also extremely hungry for a Subway sandwich. And depending on how strong each of those are, you're going to either end up at the workout, you're going to end up sitting on your couch thinking about life, or if the hunger is the strongest one, you're going to go out to get a Subway sandwich. And so you have to realize that these forces are all acting on their own all the time. If you want to make a change in your behavior, all you have to do is line up one of these drives with the thing that you want to do. So let's say it's making YouTube videos like I'm doing right now. If I can somehow connect the dots on how making YouTube videos is going to make me more safe, if it's going to make me feel safer, That might be something like connecting this to an idea of creating a personal brand, which could in the future help me financially, and then therefore I will be safe and I will have the proper care when I'm retiring and I won't die alone, type of thing. How about for hunger? When I get hungry, I tend to be a bit more sharp. I tend to be a bit more alive, a little bit more angry. So if I don't have a lot of food before I make a video, I tend to be a bit more expressive in that video and a little bit more ravenous in the video. It comes through. And so I can use that drive to actually take advantage of hunger for this video. Then there is the desire for intimacy and meeting people. So maybe somehow I can connect my connection with the audience that I'm having here with a sense of connection and intimacy. Obviously non-physical, but I can connect that dot. And so you can see that just by thinking about it for a few seconds, I'm able to connect some of the big motivating factors that are operating in me to making these videos. And if I consistently do that, when I make these videos, I'm going to start to feel safe. I'm going to start to feel hungry to make them, and I'm going to start to feel connected to the audience, which is you. Hello. Nice to meet you. So by doing this, I can steer the boat a bit better. It's like adjusting your sail to catch the proper wind. So the wind is already there. There's a bunch of winds in a bunch of different directions. You've got to harness the power of the wind with your sail. I would argue that this is similar to electricity generation. If you go into a power plant, whatever the power source is, whether it's nuclear, natural gas, whatever it is, you're not going to walk in there and see 4,000 Oompa Loompas on bikes powering as hard as they can to get you the electricity to your house so you can watch this video. No, as a matter of fact, the power comes from already existing resources. All the power plant does is just combust the resource in the proper way and connect the energy to the grid in a proper and controlled way so that everyone gets power and it can be used in a very productive way. So in the same way, you can use your biological, psychological, and spiritual drives to plug into your life in a harmonious way that's going to create something amazing, rather than having an internal fight all the time, which might stress you out.